All right, so we should be, um, you guys let me know when you get the cue on your end.
It says we're live.
All right, let me see it on my end here. Okay, all right, so we are back post Halloween pre-election. Everybody is in the house.
Yep.
Well, we're going to give a minute for our folks who are watching us live to chime in and come on. For those who are tuning in for the first time or watching us pre-recorded, I am Takesha Edwards, the owner of Blueprint to Events, and this is Wind Down Readers. And what is Wind Down Readers? Wind Down Readers is a virtual book club that was birthed after the initial impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. We were trying to think of things to keep us sane while we were in the house and getting used to this new Zoom culture. So we decided to implement something fun for us avid readers, and hence came Wind Down Readers. So, and also with Wind Down Readers, we review all genres of literature, but it seems like our specialty is all things related to relationships. Pretty sure everybody on the panel can agree as well. And tonight is a very special night because we will be reviewing Slick, and I do mean Slick, by Marlee Rae. And for those of you who, have used to Wind Down Readers, we usually feature one book a month, and we are on Blueprints to Events Facebook page live every other Sunday. So by Sundays, I guess, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tonight we will be talking about reviewing chapters 1 through 9 of Slick by Marlee Rae. Slick happens to be the first novel of Marlee Rae's Love Movement series. And she can correct me if I'm wrong. Wet is the second novel that's coming 2021 or 2020, Marlee Rae?
This month.
Yay! So we made the 2020 cut. Look at that. So yeah, good things. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Wind Down Reader panel. We have our Southern WDRs, I like to nickname. We have Miss Nene from Houston. How's it going, Nene? We have Miss Pat from Florida, from the sunny Florida. I don't know if it's rainy Florida today.
No, it's not.
And then we have our DMVers, our DC, Maryland, and Virginia folks. We have Alex, Wanda, we have Kendra, Stephanie, and you know what? I forgot Gloria. Gloria, I don't know why I want to put you in DC. You are in the dirty South too, ATL. So we got an ATLian in here too. And Wanda, you with the DMV too. Did I say your name or what? Okay, just want to make sure. Now we're going to move on over to the Midwest, We have Deborah King from the Chicago spaceship. And we have Dr. Cheryl Woodson coming to us also from the Windy City. And last, but definitely and certainly not least, well, you know what? Forgive me. I'm going out of order. Steph, did I call you out on the DMV girly? Yeah, she said anyway. Go ahead.
You said Stephanie.
I did. Okay. I gotta make sure. I'm sorry. I'm off my little flow, my rhythm. And so without further ado, we'd like to talk about our special guest, who she's part of the family, not really a special guest, but Miss Marlee Rae from Sweet St. Louis. She's our featured author tonight. So Here we're going to talk about Slick. And we, you know, of course, this is part 1. So we're dealing with chapters 1 through 9. And so what is Slick about? And before we get into Slick, I want to give a shout out to us who are watching live. We have Sonia Edwards, Kendra's up here too, Stephanie Gordon Thurman. Hey, Stephanie, glad to have you back. Yolanda Jordan, we missed you, glad to have you back. Latanya Jones King, Deborah King is chiming in with the folks. Pat Heath, happy to have you back. Let's see who else we have. Gloria Johnson. Gloria, I know that she's usually on our panel, but she couldn't make it tonight. And who else? I want to make sure I give it. Wilbur Thomas. Hey, Wilbur, glad you could join us. All right, and then Latanya Jones King, I think I mentioned her. So glad. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the book review tonight. And before we get started, I want to definitely make sure that we shot our drinks out. So those of you who are watching us live, you know our tradition. Go ahead and go in the comments section and type in what you're drinking tonight. It is called Wine Down Readers. Before I'll ask our panel what they're sipping on tonight. So you guys go ahead and chime in. While we wait for our live folks to type their drinks in, I do want to do a little bit of a plug. Wine Down Readers has an Instagram page and also a YouTube channel where we have all of our pre-recorded book reviews there. I think it's like 15 of them, and you can go and watch them, like it, subscribe, share it, and leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about it. And also, if you would like to email us, if you're an author or know of an author of a great book you would like to have reviewed, you can email us at winedownreaders@gmail.com, and we would love to have you featured on this platform. Now, panel, what are you guys drinking on tonight? Who wants to go first? Uh-oh.
Well,
You got a sober panel tonight?
Since Jay is not here, I'll represent. I'm drinking H2O.
Oh! Okay.
And so to keep that going, because I'm sure somebody's drinking something heavy. I'm just having some Sierra Mist tonight because I'm sure Slick is going to take us to a different place. And I want to be level-headed when I get there.
Better be smart, Wanda. Smart. Stephanie, I see that glass in your hand. What you got going on?
Girl, I'm drinking the best H2O going.
What is up with this sober line here?
I mean, I've been high all week off of Slick. I just needed to be sober today.
Well, you know that's what I'm talking about right there. So I'll let you have it. Alex, you
Because I can't handle Slick, I'm having a drink on him. And this is my usual Behringer Pinot Grigio.
Oh, okay.
Cheers to everyone and to Slick, baby.
Yeah, I love that glass. It's beautiful. Who do we? Alex, we've been missing you. What you got over there?
Lovely Coca-Cola. Because I had to work tomorrow.
I logged into the wrong meeting now. Okay, watching us live. I hope you got some. Let's see. Let me see. Let me get a heavy hitter over here that I know that's not going to disappoint me on my drink. Okay,
Look at
hey, Kendra,
Kendra.
what you got over there?
Look at Kendra.
I'm talking about Snoop Dogg. 19 crimes. California red, baby. California
Oh, okay.
red.
You know,
No, when I
you
said Snoop, why you look like that, Trey? You were like, no.
I was like, this is called Wine Down Readers, not not okay. Look at Nene. Sorry, Nene. Go there. Gloria, what they drinking in the ATL? What they drinking on tonight? Look at her smirking. Where she got? Okay, we're gonna come back to her. Deborah in the she's on. What you got there, Gloria?
Capico.
Ooh, Capico. You know, Capico keeps its customers, because once y'all start drinking it, y'all will bring it on and on. I'm gonna have to get some next time.
It's good.
It is, and the bottles are so beautiful. All right, Deborah, what they drinking in outer space?
I am having basically my usual lately, a Moscow Mule with ginger beer and extra vodka.
Extra. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. All right, all right. Wanda, you already told me what you got going on. All right, Cheryl, what you drink? What they drinking on in the Windy City?
Well, you know, I'm all about fall, right?
Yes,
So I've got Ghirardelli hot chocolate heated with a cinnamon stick and a shot of rum.
Hey,
you always know how to bring it home. You have those, fireside chat drinks.
Right.
Yep.
She does. She does. All right. Who am I missing? Miss. Who else has a shot out their drink?
Marlee Rae.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I'd say I'm gonna save her.
Okay.
Before Marlee Rae gives her drink, I will say, since Glory was so upset because she really, really, really needs, she really wanted to be on tonight, but she had to work. So she loves Gloria, she loves the color pink and she loves Stella Rose. So when I saw this, I said, I got to get this for her. So Gloria, I know you watching from home or on your lunch break. So this is for you. So I'm drinking that in honor of you. So to our featured author tonight, what you drinking on, Miss Marlee Rae?
Okay, so I had to switch drinks. This is my second drink. So I started off just like Dr. Cheryl. I had some hot chocolate with some rum cream in it, which is my favorite warm drink. But I ruined it because I decided to save on some calories and I put some almond whipped cream on top and ruined it. So it wasn't good. No, it was terrible.
Okay. Almond whipped cream is nasty.
Yeah, it's terrible.
When you pour the rum, it dissolves the calories.
Right.
I won't make that mistake again. I'm gonna go back.
Well, it was a good effort. I would never think that the almond destroy it, but
it's not good. Not good.
I was gonna try it, but thanks, Marlee. Now I won't.
Don't forget about it.
Save your money for the good stuff.
Save your money for the good stuff. So Stephanie Gordon Thurman says she's just having some fresh brewed lemon tea tonight. Okay. Yolanda Jordan says she's having ginger ale. Tracy Olivia Wright says she's having raspberry lemonade. Now, what is up with all these sober drinks now? Who is drinking? That's what I want to know. Let's see. Pat Heath says she's drinking a red 97 Point Toes Dew. Excuse me, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right. Ron Granichi Syrah. I'm probably ruining that, but it sounds.
Cheryl.
Huh?
I said, tell Cheryl, Dr. Cheryl, to help us out on that
I
pronunciation
know.
of that drink.
I think that's a homegirl. She said, no, don't put me in this.
Pat don't live in Chicago anymore, so I can't hang with her. Hi, Pat.
You too fancy for us, girl. You too fancy for us. All right. So everybody knows how we do. We're going to go ahead and cheers to ourselves. And cheers to part 1 of Slick, chapters 1 through 9. All right. So our discussion theme for tonight is titled, "It's Nothing Personal, Just Bad Timing." And this was a quote I got from the Nina Mosley, portrayed by the beautiful, talented actress Nia Long in Love Jones. Who remembers that?
Yep.
You might remember that. Yes, girl, when she told him that it's nothing personal, just bad timing. So that's our theme for tonight. So chapters 1 through 9 takes us on a trip to the ski slopes of Vermont and then drops us off in the District of Columbia. Now, Marlee Rae, I did want to ask you, what was your inspiration for writing this particular novel? And I'm getting so excited. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just going to read. I know. I'm just going to read a little excerpt of Slick for those who have not read it and just tuning in with us. So what is Slick about? So we got, Slick is about Malcolm Montgomery, who is referred to as Slick. He dominates the mountains and commands the legal world. He perfectively balances both sides of his unique family life because he is known for taking care of those he loves at any cost. The only thing he has not found is true love. Tia Phillips, also known as Tweet, is a young firecracker determined to chart her own course in the world without the help from anyone, especially her family. She has placed her love life on hold while she pursues her career goals. When the pair meets on the ski slopes, will they proceed when they figure out that they are in different stages in life? Will he be able to capture her? Or will she stay on her original plan? I guess we're gonna have to read and discuss and find out. So that is Slick. That's to give you a brief introduction of Slick. So referring back to chapters 1 through 9, again, I wanted to ask you, Marlee Rae, the very first question. What inspired you to have this love story take place in Vermont during a ski conference for African-American skiers? Is this portion of the book from a personal point of view or something interesting and different for your readers?
Okay, well, so it's not in Vermont. It's in Colorado.
Colorado. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Look, I'm crossing books.
Right. No, I got you. Well, I would say the first part of the series is called The Love Movement. And what I wanted to kind of show in the series is, of course, it's going to focus on Black love, but I also wanted to kind of show a few, I guess, hobbies or pastimes that are not necessarily common in the African American community, but things that we are very good at. So, and just to kind of highlight it a little bit. So one of the things that, that's what made the first book, I wanted to do skiing. So, and it's such a kind of a scary sport, but it's also fun and exhilarating. And the first time that I actually went skiing, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I absolutely loved it. And I'm not the best skier at all. So, but I may or may not fall off the lip. Don't worry about that. But, but I really enjoyed it. And I actually love going to the Black Ski Summit. So that's what kind of inspired the book. So the year when I wrote that book last year, that's the year that the summit was in Steamboat, Colorado, like in 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you definitely had me doing some research on the back end. I was like, I feel like I'm missing out. Most people plan their trips to hot places, but you and Cheryl got us wanting to go to Colorado, the cabins and skiing. Keep writing these books about these cold places. So interesting. Okay, so moving on, Tia and Malcolm, or known as Tweet and Slick, had a serious connection in the beginning of the book while they were in Colorado. And we find out that they happen to know a few people in common. Having said that, do you think it's easier or less stressful to date or enjoy another person if someone refers them to you, as opposed to you meeting them by chance? Line. I think there's pros and cons with it, but let's discuss. Okay, you know what, Needy, I'm gonna get you on, but let me get Jay in because I wrote this. I thought of this question, and then Miss Kendra also brought it to my attention in a different way. And I don't know why I had Jay in mind for this, but Nene, we're gonna start with you. So I'm gonna.
So I have been. I almost called Marlee Rae. So. Okay, so to answer your question, I'm gonna let somebody else answer that question because I'm gonna start with the first couple pages of the book. I didn't have to read anymore after the first couple pages because I really thought I was in a porno movie. Until I realized it was a ski slope. But I had got a little hot water and I had to get my fan and stuff. And then I had to reread it again because, you know, like after that, I really didn't have to read anymore, but you know, okay. So, but
Well, thank you for that.
yeah. Okay. Next question.
It's funny that Gloria Johnson, the one that's on tonight, she also told me, because she was one of the cheater readers. She told me, she said, "Girls, listen, it's hot the first couple of pages. It's hot the first couple of pages."
baby. I was like,
she said, "It's hot first couple of pages." But so you're not.
And then she's talking about some damn ski slopes.
She jacked you up, huh? Go ahead, Ellen.
I mean, just to go off of that, I was like, oh wow, we're really starting off hot. I was like, wow, we don't get a hi, how are you? How you doing? It's right into it. And I was like, oh, this is skiing. Great. Good to know. But I mean, that just speaks to Marlee's ability to write.
Yes.
You know? We all thought one thing, but it was another thing. So that was really cool. But to go off the answer to the question that was posed, personally, I feel like it's better to date somebody that you met by chance, because then you don't have another person's perception of that person kind of becoming involved with that conversation. You know, I've been in situations where I've had people, you know, get referred to me or whatever, or I'm introduced to them, and the person like hyped them up, like, oh, this person's really a good person, they'll treat you well, you know, whatever the case may be. And then when it's just you and that person, you're like, this is it. This is all I'm getting from you. Your friend was like hyping you up, and I'm a little bored right now. So I think there's definitely pros and cons to both sides. But for me personally, I would rather meet somebody by chance than have somebody introduce me to them, because for me, I like making my own decisions about people I'm getting involved with than having somebody else have an input in that conversation.
Well,
yes. I think I saw Cheryl, your hand up next. I think you're on mute. I think you muted yourself.
It goes the other way too, because you don't want them to have all hyped up and think you're one way and then you're another way. So I agree with you, Alex.
well, can I say that at 57, I want somebody to know somebody. I want them to, I don't have time for chance and trying to learn and all of this. I need somebody to be able to tell me some of that stuff so that I can jump ahead. I can't, the by chance doesn't work the older you get, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with Stephanie. And being just a little bit over 57, I agree too. I think that is what added to Tia's, probably some of her comfort too, is because so many people knew, and with a name like Slick, you know, and somebody who it just might not be the right time, probably would not have given it as much consideration if there hadn't been somebody that had some familiarity with who he is, but who he was. But I do want to step back and say the opening kind of threw me too. So the opening and even the first 9 chapters really make me really wonder what's to come, because we got it all the first 9. In fact, we got all the first 9 pages, and then it just, you know, intensified when it put together. But I think the opening took me by such a surprise. I was like, are we already here? Like closer to the end of most novels, but I said, we're already here, then what is left? That's my thing now, is what's left. So it's really intriguing. And so Marlee Rae, I read your chat, and I'm thinking we need to talk to the author about skiing.
Yes.
And the experience, because if it's like that, that's, yeah.
Saying it's like that. So let's see what we have here. So Gloria Johnson said, I prefer strangers. I'm not sure I can take the back and forth with someone I know. Tracy Olivia Wright said, I want references. Yolanda Jordan said, referrals are better. It makes me feel comfortable. I will say this, it's pros and cons with both, because I have been in the situation where I've dated someone and we met through a mutual friend. And then when it didn't work out, me and the mutual friend, it was kind of weird, you know? And I just kind of, I don't know. I was just like, oh man, it sucks that, you know, I dated the friend and now, you know, it's like we're cool, but we're not as cool as we used to be because it didn't work out. But Jay, I see, Kendra, I'm gonna get you, but Jay, I see you. I want to know. So the question is posed. I know you was coming in when I originally asked. Did you get the question, Jay?
No, I was hearing all the answers, so I can almost assume what the question was, but I want to hear the question.
Okay, so basically in the nutshell, do you prefer, or what's your opinion about dating someone that referred, like, you know, hey Jay, I know this chick, I think, you know, you and her may connect, versus you finding someone organically or blindly or by chance or online?
I really don't like it when someone that I know try to set me up, because when it doesn't work out, you know how they go back. Even if it does, they go back and tell all your business. Now, we all have friends that we don't, it's things about us that we don't tell our closest friends.
Yeah, that's true.
They go back, so how's it going? Girl, he told me this or he told me that. And it's like, you know, I just prefer that by chance, even if somebody that don't know anybody I know. Because if it doesn't work out or things doesn't work out, or you might share some things with them that you might not share. And you know how it is. If it doesn't work out, they go back and just spill all your business in.
They gonna tell the business because they
tell
gonna
all your just put it all out there. You know, and I had it both ways, especially if it was, you know, kind of ended badly.
Yeah.
Now you're the villain, and it creates a little bit of friction with your person who initially set it up.
Yeah.
And you know, it might not even be the truth. That's just their version of it, you know, and then they, you know, stir it up a little bit, and you know what I mean.
No, I agree. I think it's pros and cons with
Right.
both. I think it depends on the situation, but I'm glad that Steph brought up at this point in her life, like she brought up, okay, at 57, I need some references. So I'm assuming, like, if you was at 25, I might take a chance on you, but at 57,
I would definitely take a chance on you at 25, but at 57, I need to make sure you're not a mass murderer. I'm just
exactly. Don't want to talk to strangers. Don't want to deal with strangers when you are this age.
No.
I totally disagree. Because at your age, you can smell crazy.
That's true.
In a way you couldn't when you were 25.
Yeah. You could smell.
I know some that came.
You could smell crazy just by not even so much initial conversations. I went on this was years ago. I went on a first date and it was like, oh, if we get married, we could always refer to this as our first meeting place. I was like, damn, the night isn't even.
Dang, Jay, what kind of date you be taking on?
I'm sitting here going, if we get married, I mean, damn, we haven't even had a sex conversation yet. And it's like, you already talking about at our age what our kids gonna look like.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe you need some referrals because it seems like you might be dating some wackos. You might need a couple of referrals.
No, I didn't say dating. I said we met and we had a few conversations and then we met. I don't consider that dating.
But you know what? You went on a first date though, Jay.
Yeah, the first date.
First date.
The first and last.
The first and last.
That could have been your last date. Literally.
Sounds like she met him. She did a Dun and Bradstreet on him, and she found out that he was good to go. She said, "Oh, look what I got here. I'm gonna work on this." That's what you were, Jay.
Yeah, but
diamond,
I was like
a diamond.
But
I was like, diamond.
But I was like, wait a minute.
But I want to say something else. Well, you know, Dun and Bradstreet is like, you know, doing a dossier, you know, checking the people out.
Right.
But I wanted to get back to what Marlee Rae said at the very, very beginning. that she wanted to introduce, you know, America or people who don't know to Black ski, you know, and to the Black divers and that sort of thing. A lot of that goes on in the DC area, you know, because, you know, I'm old school and I've been there. And I used to travel with some of those groups like for 9-10 years, you know, on the ski slopes in the Poconos. And then down here, I met Black cowboys. So, you know, that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
But I wanted to also say that in this novel, the relationship didn't start out with Tia knowing Malcolm. It started out with an accident. She found out about all the rest of the stuff later on.
That's right.
When it was revealed to her.
That's true. That's true. It didn't initially start off that way. You're right. You're right. It just kind of proposed. You know how you go out with someone and you like, even when you have a girlfriend, you're like, oh, you know Marlee Rae? You know, it's kind of like, and then you kind of run through your mind like, oh, you know Marlee Rae, you know.
Right.
So I just wanted to kind of propose that to you guys. Let's see what we have here in the comment section. So Latasha Clark said, I'm married to the one person who did not know any of my friends and was not a referral. We met online, completely out of my comfort zone. Okay. Tracy Olivia Wright said speed dating. Pat Heath said, she said, I've been married so long, I can't even say anything. So I'm assuming she probably did. And then Gloria Johnson said, I met my current BF, not best friend, boyfriend, online, and we were an instant hit. So I think it's all about, you know, the chemistry and the initial spark. Yes, Alex.
It's kind of interesting to, like, when it comes to dating people with referral or without referral, you're always bound to find out that that person knows somebody you know, especially if you're dating within your like local area, like, you know, your specific town or your city, or even just if you're in the DMV, people know people through, you know, riding the metro, that kind of thing. So I think like situation that happened with Tweet and Slick, like that is actually kind of pretty normal, I would say, because sometimes it does take these chance occurrences to happen for you to meet that person who really does change your life forever, or is able to kind of make you realize like, wow, I am literally 3 steps away from this person, but never realized I was that close to that person. And it's kind of like the whole like degrees of separation. Like, I like that as we read the first 9 chapters, we kind of found out more and more about how the two of their lives were actually pretty entwined already. And that like throughout, like specifically when the friend group kind of realized like, oh, I know you, you know me. It was just kind of a nice way to bring two like kind of like quote unquote families of people together.
So, can I ask too? I mean, even though they did that, the interesting thing is, and that they had so many, ran into so many people they knew, and they had that commonality at the ski slopes. But I think it's interesting how you don't really hear them talk about the people they know. You know, that they spend a lot of time really getting to know each other and not taking in what somebody else said and how somebody else feels, and let's hang out with somebody. You know, they just have really you know, tried to form their own relationship, which is interesting considering how many people already knew each other.
You know what? That's a good point. I'm gonna get to you, Kendra, because you know, you probably having this same thought pattern. And this is a spoiler alert. If you have not read Marlee Rae's Something About Love series, I turn it, you know, go off for 2 seconds because I'm getting ready to spoil something. But in you know, lost my train of thought there for a second. I'm reading the comments and I lost my train of thought. Kendra, go ahead. I'm gonna come back.
In reference to Ayana's comment, I agree. I'm still on the perception, like Stephanie, I need some referrals. But the good point that Ayana brought out is that even though they didn't talk about how the other people, it was about them, me at 25 or 45, I'm gonna need some reference and referrals, because just for my upbringing and my background, because I'm gonna need some verifications that you are who you say you are. But because they checked out, she both said, you know, her sister told her, Tia, he good because he works with Brent and all of that. So I think that wall came down, especially from a woman's standpoint. That's why Jay's standpoint is always good too, from a male perspective. But for a woman's standpoint, okay, then I don't have to talk about who we know. Now I'm comfortable. I can have a good time just enjoying the conversations about you and I. And I think that's what made it so easy for them to be able to just connect and talk with each other, because that wall was down for Tia.
And that's true. And it was, and it was. And just on a funny note, before we move on, y'all remember Dale? That was the spoiler alert. I wanted to say Dale. Remember Dale's wife never had a name? Y'all remember something about Love series? Did y'all peep that Dale left the nameless wife?
Girl,
Yeah.
I was clapping.
Heard about that?
I was clapping.
Said Dale's wife is gone.
Yes.
Look at God. So I thought that was pretty funny. Okay. So let's see what we have here. So moving on. Referring to Slick or Malcolm's unusual upbringing, with being given up for adoption at birth and then being reunited with his birth parents at the age of 10, if I'm correct.
18.
18.
18. He was told he was adopted at 10, but 18. You know, do you think that has some sort of impact on him purposely, you know, and waiting to kind of settle down? It seems like in the beginning of the book, you know, you hear about his friends and, you know, everyone around him seems like you kind of get that little soft perception that, you know, they're settled, they're out having fun, but everybody is kind of settled, and he kind of is living this, you know, bachelor lifestyle and enjoying it and embracing it, and, you know, don't want any parts of settling down. Do you think that may have had some sort of impact on him doing that? And before you answer that, you know, it's kind of a two-part question. When he met Tia, you know, what was so special about her that was, you know, we can kind of see, you know, as opposed to the other women that he dated, that she was just so, I don't know if it was just the challenge, because, you know, apparently he's 40 years old. He's a criminal defense attorney. He's described as very attractive. So, you know, having said all that, the odds aren't against him. So what do you guys think about that? I know that's kind of a two-parter, so you can take whichever part you want to kind of chime in. Yes, Alex.
So to start with the first part of the question, as someone who is adopted, sometimes it is really difficult to kind of find that person to settle down with, because as an adopted person, you had something taken away from you when you were born, or you were put into a system that was not good for you. Like the foster system in America is literal trash. But when it comes to being adopted, like, you know, he was given up for adoption basically straight out the womb. So he didn't know, if he was never told by his parents, his adoptive parents, that he was adopted, he would probably not have known, other than the fact that he looks so different from them. So for someone who is adopted, looking at finding somebody that you can trust enough to not leave you like your mother and your father did, that's possibly why he is kind of floating around. He's not settling down. He is finding different people that he knows are just kind of like one-time things, and, you know, he can move on from them. But looking at Tia, she is strong, independent. She's powerful in her own way. She knows what she wants. She is grounded within family matters in terms of like, she has a strong bond with her family and the fact that they helped her get to where she is today and that kind of thing. And for him to see somebody who is surrounded by love and by family, specifically family, who hasn't walked away from her and who has stepped up and helped her whenever she needed the help, he felt comfortable in that. Because if you look at his relationship with his siblings, he's always the one who steps up to help them because he's afraid that he'll lose them if he doesn't do that. Because if you look at the relationship that he has specifically with Bliss, when he goes to pick him up, Bliss is like, well, why did you wait so long to come pick me up?
I was so mad at that comment.
It wasn't a thank you for coming to get me. Thank you for helping me get my life around. The fact that Bliss was like blissfully aware of the fact that if he went back to that woman's house, he was going to get arrested again. Like, for an adopted person, you're always going to be in a position where you want to do whatever you can to make the people around you happy because you don't want them to leave you, just like your birth parents did.
Wow, sense of rejection. I never thought of it that way, Alex. That's pretty deep. Yes, Cheryl.
Flick actually says that though. He said that when he found out he was adopted at 10, he had this whole fantasy about them giving him away because they loved him so much they couldn't take care of him. And then he finds out that he's the only one who was given away. She kept all the rest of them. So his sense of rejection and abandonment is pretty big.
Yes, it's Pat.
And I think being an only child was a problem for him. And I think that's the problem for a lot of individuals that are the only child. So when he found out he had a biological family, he was desperate to fit in with them because now it's not just him, but he does have somebody who he has a blood relationship with.
Seems like he's handling the family very well. I'm an only child, and at 45, I don't want to find out I got another sibling. I am so okay with that. But growing up, I always, wanted a sibling. But some of my friends are like sisters and brothers to me, and I appreciate that. But he clearly defined it. Then again, I think just because he was young and attractive and nice looking, and being, and maybe Marlee can speak to that, being in a group, always skiing, that was just the kind of thing you did for the week. Because he even actually said in the book, I'm booed up on a ski trip for a week. Well, yeah, I'm booed up. So evidently she had something that he wanted to catch.
It was just interesting that she caught his, attention and with that much, vigor, with him being resistant and having that type of background. But I'm only on chapter 9, so I guess we'll.
She did. She did catch his attention, but remember, it first was more physical.
It was, yeah.
Until he started, and because again, that was his pattern, right? For whatever reason, if it was because of the way he was, adopted and, learning all these things and having this rejection, which I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. I felt like I think it was acceptance, but I think it was also the heart he has to not see people do bad. And then and especially now knowing that these are blood relatives and, he had descriptions for all of them, but he also had a mature way of handling them as much as he may have given in. Because I like that $200. Oh no, I'll tell him 100 and that'll be enough. But, he's thought about it. And even in his conversation with Bliss in the car, he had to think about how to say it right. So to me, he used his, as he said, his litigation skills to get through a lot of stuff, even with Tia. But I think it was first, he thought that his week was going to be as his typical week is on the ski trip, is that he meets somebody, you do this, and then it's over kind of thing. But Tia was a run for the money, which again makes me almost wish I had cheated and went to chapter 10 because I was anxious to see where this goes. I mean, because we don't usually get a wedding right in the first book, but we already there, right? I think.
Ayana see the best in everybody. And He seems, and you're absolutely right. He handles his family very well. He handles everybody very well. But as Brent, I think the family man, because he said early, like in chapter 3, you know, yeah, they consider me the playboy, but honestly, they don't know that I'm really looking to settle down. But just like your girlfriend tell you, just like Brent said, baby, it's one for everybody.
It
And
is.
that is one.
Oh, look, Keisha.
Well, oh yes, go ahead, definitely. Yes.
I'm listening to everything, and I think it's fantastic because some of this stuff I didn't even think about. But but the one thing that I wanted to throw out there as far as Malcolm was concerned is that remember, Malcolm is 42 now. So he's had 24 years of dealing with this family. So this is kind of many, many years after he's come together with his biological family as well as his, you know, his adoptive family and what's happening. But also remember when he met Tia, Malcolm is used to women coming after him. Tia ran from him. She ran off. She wasn't really entertaining him. So a lot of times when that happens, he ended up getting caught up because he had to actually chase her. She was not one of the ones that kind of chased after him.
Right.
So it was kind of different for him, as well as when he thought everything was going well. Remember when they got back to DC, she didn't call him for 2 weeks. He had to
talk about that too.
Yeah,
yes,
a job. So because she was not having it with him.
We need Jay perspective on that, because Marlee, that's a good point. I always say that, although I've always had girls and now I got the 6-year-old, I used to always say that with men. It's two things, you know. I would like to hear just Jay perspective of it. But if you look at the animal kingdom, especially when you look at the lion, they do one thing. They chase. So they either killing or they're procreating. And after that's what's left. And so he had to put in he had to put in work. So it's always, what do you call it when you're dating, and in the beginning, it's always much energy in the chase, you know. And even though she felt something and she was just saying, hey, you know, I'm already, you know, as what Cam told her, you know, I thought, you know, you weren't interested. And she was like, wait a minute, I'm asking about the friend, you know, you putting family together. And, you know, a lot of times love or good intimate relationships come when you're not really looking or you're really searching. But it just seems like that chemistry is so good. But I'm glad that you brought out that point too, that he had been, you know, he's in his 40s now. I feel like I'm so much more mature in my 40s than I were in my 20s. But he's had his time to deal with him. And now, yeah, that is probably correct, that he just deals with everybody in a pretty good light.
Yeah. Yes, Cheryl.
And I agree that he's probably used to women falling all over him, but I don't think she ran, she walked.
Oh,
okay. She was not running from him. It's like, oh no, not the kid. No, yes, sir. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
And like, I think if he had been scared and nervous, I don't think he would have been interested. But he thinks he's all that, and she's not treating him that way. And he goes, you know. So I think that was part of the attraction.
She strolled like
Tori
Gloria,
was the one that was giving up all the information.
She was like, is he watching me? Yeah, he watching. I'm sorry, somebody else was talking. Who was that?
When she bent over to tie that boot up, she said, ain't no way you gonna look at all this and not be attracted.
But you know, it's funny that you talk about the challenge. My father is a country Black man, okay? And I remember, oh God, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I remember my parents are together. He was dating this lady was showing interest in him, and she was like pressed. And we were at a family funeral, and she was just like, I mean, it was like, I was like, okay, is my dad like Idris? What is going on? She could not, like, he couldn't. So I asked my dad, I was like, well, she's nice looking, and, you know, obviously she likes you. What's the problem? And my dad looked at me in his tacky suit and said, if I can't chase it, I don't want it. So I don't know. When you said that, Kendra, it made me think of my dad.
That's all I know. I'm a Southern girl. That's all I know.
He pretty much said that, and I mean,
Tupac said, "I don't want it if it's that easy. I don't want it if that easy."
that's what
It's the
Tupac.
chase. It's the chase.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes if
There go
it's like
Jay.
if it's too easy, it's like, nah, I'm good. You can throw herself all over you. Oh, it's like, nah. The one you can't have or you think you can't have, that's the one you're going after. Because that's the one I'm gonna chase. Because when you get it, you appreciate it more. As opposed if somebody give you something you really don't appreciate. Ah, okay, I got it. It's all good. You really don't want it. But the art of the chase, that's the one I want. So you go out of your way. You got to give them a little something. You know what I mean? You can't just be elusive and you chasing, knowing that there's no reward at the end. You got to give them a little something. It's that pursuit and that I got it. But you better appreciate it when you get it, because as quickly as you got it, you can lose it if you don't do what it takes to keep it.
Go on, Jay.
Okay.
But you know what? When we can't you just apply that to anything? If you work hard for something, you just appreciate it more. If it comes easy, it loses its value.
Yep.
You know, it's funny. I was in the grocery store the other day, and they had these lemons, and they were like, I think like 25 cents or 10 cents a piece. And the first thing I said, "What's wrong with them?" Like, you practically giving them away. Like, what's wrong with them? Why are they so cheap? So I guess you can, Stephanie, like you said, you can look at it with anything.
Yeah,
if it comes too easy without any type of work put into it, then yeah.
This day and time, they call it thirsty.
Thirsty.
Thursday. But you know what? A flip side of that, Takesha, a flip side of that, even though I said that we could apply it to just about anything, we're talking about a man and his pursuit. If you flip that around, do women think like that about men?
No, well, true. I will say.
Well.
Oh, that's a tough one, Stephanie. You just
what do you mean do women think that way about men?
Like if he's
like
so easy, if I can't chase him, I don't want him.
Yeah, but you know, so kind of going to Jay's point, because what keeps ringing in my mind is that a man's nature is to hunt and to pursue and to chase. And really, you know, if you take it all the way down to where, you know, to scripture, it's not about a man, it's about he who finds. It's not about she who finds. And I think sometimes we get mixed up in that, and that we do think because we're strong women and that we are comfortable and confident in ourselves, that we still get ourselves out of line. It's still for a man, no matter what he has to offer, a real man is going to pursue. And a strong, confident man is going to pursue. And if he doesn't pursue, then that to me makes him, will he be the other P's that are in the Steve Harvey books? Will he provide? Will he be all of those other things if he's not comfortable enough to pursue you? And so I think as a woman, we have to think about that even if we know that, you know, oh, I want him, we still have to make it so that he makes that move, and that we give him that kind of power, because otherwise it'll be easy. Just like they say, it's just easy. Oh, she wanted me. And not necessarily, it'll take him out of his place to be that person.
Yeah, you know, I could go for that, but now in today's society, and Jay, help me out here. I've heard men say that, and I'm taking the Bible out of this. I've heard men say that they want to know that the woman wants them.
Yeah, you gotta give them a little bit. Yeah.
But that's
you just can't sit, you know, and just wait and say, you know, I'm not sure that I'm in total agreement that the man is supposed to do. I mean, chasing is a strong word, but
pursuit is a better word.
Pursuit is if you like something or someone, what's wrong with letting them know
and pursuing them
I think it's like if it comes so easy, it does give you a little question. And
that's
go ahead.
I use
with And it's unfortunately, it still is, we are evolving, but it still is kind of a double standard. If the situation between Slick and Tweet were reversed, she was pursuing him. Like I looked at the way Slick, came to DC and just showed up at her office. I was like, oh, look, he going for what he wants. But if that was Tweet, I would be like, girl, calm down. Maybe it's something that, maybe he has a woman, or, he's dating someone else, or, just calm down. So unfortunately, it may still be a little double standard when it comes to, but Stephanie, I don't disagree with you in saying you do have to let people know that you are interested, and especially if you live no shade in the DMV area. Because dating here that's another book. Go ahead, Alex.
So, I mean, just to kind of go off of what Stephanie was saying, though, just to kind of not necessarily say like plays devil's advocate, but if we look at how that dating structure is set up in terms of the patriarchal view versus the matriarchal view about who's in charge, going all the way back to hunter-gatherer, women were the ones who ran everything. They were the ones who did the hunting. They were the ones who did the gathering. They're the ones who raised the families. They were the ones who chose the men whom they would sleep with to procreate. So if we look at it, the thing is, like, we can look at it both ways, like, and say, like, really, like, who should be doing what. But I think what Stephanie was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie, what I think what Stephanie is trying to say is, it's not just about letting that other person know you're interested in them. It's to show them that you're putting the effort in to that relationship, or to pursue them, in the sense to say, you are worth my time for me to make these steps to show that you matter to me as a person. And that can be, that can be for anything. So I think, like, if we look at the pursuit or the game, as it were, if we want to go back to the animal kingdom, lionesses will watch two males fight themselves to the death, and she'll choose the one who wins, because that's her making the decision of, clearly he's the one who'll survive. He will provide well for my family. It's not necessarily the men choosing the lioness, it's the lioness choosing her mate. And I think we can see that with other birds as well, with other animals as well. Birds specifically, female birds, the men have to do all these crazy dances, show off the colors. Like peacocks, the male one is the one that has all the bright colors, and the females are not as colorful. So I think we can look at that dating dynamic from both sides, because there's power for both sides. A woman can play hard to get and be coy and flirtatious, but also be powerful in her steps to say, this is what I want from this relationship. But men can also be powerful and say, hey, I'm gonna fly to Washington, DC and show up in your office and say, I just wanted to see how you're doing. You haven't returned my phone calls. Granted, that's that's a whole nother thing, but like, I think showing effort on both sides is important in a relationship, especially at the very beginning stage. Because like, if somebody I were dating wasn't putting as much effort into the relationship as I was, I'm going to step away from that person, because clearly that my presence is not important enough for them to spend time on making that effort.
So let me go back and just make a point. So to me, chasing is a strong word. I think showing interest is different than chasing. And I think, and it's not, I wouldn't say that I believe that's wrong to do, showing interest. But I think chasing and pursuing is a little different for a woman. And that the role of most men, of a man, is to pursue and to hunt and to prey, because that's their nature. I mean, it's kind of like the lion we were discussing, that's their nature, that's instinctive for them. But for a woman to pursue that aggressively, and it really didn't take a pursuit, to show interest and to know that you're confident to know that, hey, you see this, you like this, and I know you like this, is different than a woman that is you know, just down at, as Gloria said, just thirsty. And it's so obvious that she wants a man so much that she's willing to do anything. I think that that takes away from some of what a man, it takes away from what a man would find interesting long-term in a woman. I think from that perspective.
Well, being thirsty and being in pursuit or showing interest to somebody is two different things.
They are, I agree.
And it's a matter of a level of maturity also that goes along with that. So I would never refer to, my comments will never be directed, will never encompass thirsty women.
Because you're not thirsty, huh?
Because I'm not thirsty.
Because you got your yes, sure.
I mean, my mouth might be a little dry, but
there's this great book called Marriage on the Rock. It's God's Design for Your Dream Marriage. And Pastor Jimmy Evans talks about the differences between men and women and how God meant those differences to be complementary, but we've made them adversarial. But one of the things he says is that men hear in the language of honor. Do you notice me? Do you think I'm wonderful? And women hear, just like Alex said, in the language of security. Are you about something? And so maybe that's why we sort of sit back a little bit to see. I mean, he's showing all his feathers, but I don't need no feathers. I need somebody who's actually going to do something. So maybe women hang back a little bit to see whether he's about anything.
I agree. I like that perspective. I like that perspective. Pretty deep, pretty deep. Let's see what some of our commenters are saying. It seems like the women here are on, you better chase me if you want me, pretty much. That's the tone I'm getting here. Pat E. Heath has an interesting point. She says, unfortunately, not all men would like an independent woman. Deborah says in the comments, women are socialized to be pursued. We side-eye other women who chase. And Deborah, unfortunately, you are right. We do. Because I strongly think if the wheels were turned at that same energy, we would look at Tweet like as Gloria say, she looked thirsty, right? And that's the double standard. She could be confident and know what she wants, just like, Slick. But that's the way it is. And Gloria Johnson said, I agree. You have to show me some interest before you're gonna pursue me. And Deborah said, I thought he was a little stalkerish and way too pushy and bossy, talking about Slick showing up at her office when she didn't return his phone calls. And we're going to go into that. You guys are getting ready to get upset with me, but it's okay. That's why we're here, is to talk about our perspective of the book. But I don't know about you, but I was upset when Tweet purposely did not contact Slick when she got to DC. They had it going on when they were in Colorado, just because the whole situation with the lady and she didn't respond to her back with work got hectic. She's just going to go ahead and jeopardize that, the connection she had with Slick. And I want to ask you guys, and again, you got to read, if you have not read, those who are watching us live or on a recorded later on a recorded version on YouTube or Facebook, you got to read the Something About Love series. I highly suggest reading that before Slick, but if you're reading Slick's, hang on board. It's going to get good. You'll figure it out. But I will say, do you think the way Tweet was initially introduced to us that makes her so eager, because the bar is kind of set high with her family and her sister, do you think it makes her so eager and feel pressure that she has to succeed? Like there's some sort of expectation that she has to reach before she allows herself to fall in love. I'm a little worried about Tweet in that particular area. Yes, Alex.
I think, I mean, if we look at her compared to Tori specifically, her sister, they are on very different levels in terms of maturity, success, etc. You know, happy marriage, whatever, what have you. But I think one of the things that like really stood out to me was Tia's like actual discomfort at her sister saying, "I'm giving you my the
Yes.
Yeah.
and
I get that.
while you can have your own plans in the making and all that kind of stuff, I was kind of taken aback a little bit by her response, because it's like, you know, I think if I were given the opportunity to, like, if I knew that I was about to open my own salon in DC and I was given the opportunity to take over control over a salon I was already running, for me, if I were in the entrepreneurial spirit, I would be like, absolutely, I'll do both. And that gives me the chance to grow my own business out here as an outshoot from the original business. But it also gives me the ability to stay close to family and with clients that I already know really well and that kind of thing. So I think, like, not to be super judgmental on Tia, but I think her own expectations of where she needs to be, quote unquote, versus where she wants to be and versus where her family sees her, there's a little bit of a disconnect there, because there's nothing wrong with having high aspirations for yourself, but when you're not able to acknowledge an opportunity and appreciate the opportunity that is literally being handed to you, I think, you know, that says a little bit about the character. However, I will say this, like, if I were moving into DC from my hometown with all these plans in motion already, you know, going and said I have a business partner who I'm opening this whole thing with, and then out of the blue, my sister, who I've been helping with her salon, is like, oh, by the way, here's the salon. After my marriage, this is what we're doing. I think I would have been taken aback by that just to begin with, because it's kind of like, oh, this came out of the blue. I would have appreciated you to tell me a little bit about it before you made that decision. Because it seems like that conversation of, do you want that, never really happened.
Right.
And I understand where you're coming from, Alex, and I agree, but she already was working at the shop that her sister Tori owned. So it's like, you know, in another way, you can look at it as, hey, you've proven yourself that you can take this. Here's the baton.
I think there should have been a conversation. It's possible the conversation happened, you know, out of pages in, you know, in
right.
the world, but like, if we're basing it off of what we know of the conversations that have happened between her and her sister, I think there should have been a conversation about, is this what you want? Because if Tori had just asked Tia about what her 5-year plan was, she would have known that she was opening a salon out in DC. It may not have been something that Tia wanted to talk about with Tori, because it would be kind of like a let's compare where we are kind of thing. But I think there should have been more of a conversation from Tori's standpoint, because yes, being surprised with a huge opportunity is one thing, but like, if Tia's belief in what she was doing at the salon was there just to help run business and that kind of stuff, I think, you know, I would have appreciated to have been told, like, oh, I'm planning on giving this to you, rather than, oh my God, here's a big present with a bow that is an absolute surprise to you. Meanwhile, I have a whole bunch of stuff that is on the side burner that I'm working on.
Okay, so you're saying you think that she should have considered that if she had any other plans. I could see that. Cheryl,
Yeah.
you wanted to say something?
I don't think Tori ever thought about what Tia wanted. You know, Tia talked about how Tori was always trying to be her mama and in her business and keeping her straight. And she was the baby of the family and really wanted to try her own wings. She wanted to try her own wings. She wanted to do it herself. And being a manager in her sister's salon, that's still her sister's salon. And even after Tori turned it over to her, do you think Tori would have walked away and not been in her business?
True.
Yeah, that's how I thought about it too. Yeah.
You can come into your own and still have some slick. Am I right?
Not
Yes.
if you are,
Have
but
some
remember,
sense.
she said she wished he had come a year later when she had her stuff together. She was afraid of failing. She was
Mhm.
afraid of failing and having to slink back to her family and say, yeah, you're right, I couldn't do it on my own. So she was just focused. It
Mhm.
wasn't against him, it was for herself.
Right.
It seems like she wasn't fighting or competing against with anybody but herself. But
Mhm.
sometimes that independence, I mean, we weren't just created to be alone. We were never created to be alone, ever. And it kind of goes back to stuff too that you have to work hard for. Some people were not, to me, in my opinion, weren't as fortunate as Tia to be able to have a business. I remember talking about it once with a coworker. Her family owned a business, and she was like, "Oh, my childhood just spent so much time working at the business and growing up." I said, "Okay, but did you have to pay for college?" "No, my parents paid for it." "Did you get a car when you graduated?" "My parents paid for it." And I'm going, most people don't have that opportunity. So it's a blessing in everything. But it seems like Tia was fighting with herself to prove that she could make. And sometimes you can do it so much it can be it turn a fault. You know, you got to appreciate in the good of what you have and appreciate that. But no, even with me moving from Alabama to here, you know, the whole fight was for me to move to Virginia was because nobody wanted me to move. Everybody wanted me to stay at home. And I remember my mother telling me, if it don't work out, you can always come home. But I was like, look, I am burning this ship. Ain't no way we can turn back. We gonna make it happen. And guess what? Sometimes it builds integrity and it builds strength. So, you
It
know,
does. I didn't think of it that way. And it looks like Stephanie Gordon Thurman said Tia wants to make it on her own. Tori, being the mother figure, as Cheryl also said, wanted to make sure Tia had a foundation to build on.
Mhm.
So I'm all for Tia. You know, go run the marathon by yourself or with your sister or whoever. But your social life ain't got nothing to do with you climbing that ladder of success. You can do both. Because when you get off work and you come home and turn the door, open the door, it's nothing wrong with having a little slick behind that door. Ain't got nothing to do
that's our
with probably.
hashtag. Ain't nothing
You
wrong with
can
little
do
slick.
both, but
Uh-huh.
sometimes
No,
you
I didn't
can't
get
do
it.
both at the same time.
I agree with you, Dr.
Multitask.
Cheryl. Some
Multitask.
people know themselves and
True.
they know what they can and cannot do.
Mhm.
And therefore, she said, I know I'm not going to do well. I'm going to give everything to him. I'm giving everything to the business. And I can't do both. Adios.
Gonna be
Wow.
slickless.
I try
I
to work
wouldn't
it
want to
out.
be slickless. She
Me
got to
neither.
be slickless.
And you know what, Miss Pat, I see what you're saying, and I'm glad you put it that way. When you know yourself, you know what you overindulge in. And if you have a history of overindulging and not being rational when it comes to your emotions, then it's, you got to put your big girl underwear on, I guess, and stay focused on one thing at a time. But girl.
And you're in your 30s. Boyfriend was older. Everybody else was older. Girlfriend knew she had some learning and growing to do. So she was trying to hold it, in the palm of her hand, and she could get it done. And nobody else could come back to her and say she didn't do it for herself.
You know what? Not to spoiler alert either, because you have to read Marlee first series. But she always had the advice for her sister Tori. She told Tori, "Oh, that ain't the guy for you. This is the guy for you. If he's too serious, we know you're not gonna be interested in him because it's a good time. Maybe that's a family trait. Tori is the baby. Maybe it's a family trait."
To your point, she also said, remember, she wasn't opposed to seeing Malcolm. She just didn't want to see Malcolm every day. So the mindset when we talk about pursuing and the whatever and her doing whatever, she always said she was in for the game. She just wasn't in to stay the whole
She was in for a penny, not in for a pound.
Exactly. I mean, she said that pretty much. I mean, it's you know, this is, I can do this, but I do it at my own pace. And to have somebody come home to every night is not what she wanted, but she did want somebody. She just didn't want it every night.
She did say that at the slope when the introduced the I think it's Brett's wife was like, "Oh, it's finally me, you." And then she's like, "Okay, well, how do you know about me?" And she said, "Well," and I think it was in chapter 4 when she says, "Wait, if she think what she's saying about Malcolm is helping him, she got me confused. I'm not ready to try to hook him, get married, and start a family. Really, what she's saying is a turnoff. Let me change the subject." But yeah,
and going into that, how did you guys feel about, were you not blown away when he decided to, as I was reading, when he decided to, show up at her job?
Yeah.
And so pretty much say, yo, what's going on? You don't like me?
We talk about role reversal, right? So Steph has left, but when you talk about, so to me, that's that she had him whipped in a week, right? And he said that himself, is that she, because of her not being so forward, made him pursue even more so and made him have greater interest. And in fact, more interest outside of what you typically think men would typically be. She was like, so is he having the same kind of conversation that I'm having? That it's just that it was that dynamic. It just kind of changed everything for him, because he was really not just the pursuer, he was also the one that was semi-thirsty. It was kind of like, no, she's not going to do this to me and walk away. We're going to get a final answer, which is what, if you think about, a lot of women do that in relationships. It's like, why is he not calling me? Why, we had a good date and but the roles were kind of reversed. Even though he was the pursuer, he was more aggressive in that than she was, because she knew, okay, this is fun. I enjoy this. I'm on break. And now it's time for me to go back to work. And this is where my focus is. Because she kept
maybe I'm just shell shocked from what the mirror sees with the whole. I'm like, if another character, leaves without calling and leaving their phone. So maybe I'm a little shell shocked. Okay, guys. Get Deborah laughing.
You also have to think about where she was in her life. Remember, she's 33. She's just pursuing a business. And when she met him, the first thing that she said is that, okay, we can have fun for the week, but that's going to be it. Mm-hmm. But she also said, because she said, I don't have time to dedicate to a person. Mm-hmm. So I think once they, started having fun, when she made the slip and messed up with the business while she was there, that was like a reminder to her, this is why I can't have a full-blown relationship, because I need to focus on my business. And remember, earlier in the book, the first thing she says, I'm over here, I'm supposed to be working, but what am I doing? I'm trying to figure out what he's thinking about me. I'm also trying to figure out, I'm worried about what's wrong with his brother. It's taking up my headspace. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you have to remember where she was also.
Mm-hmm. And you're right, and I totally understand. One of my biggest pet peeves is loose ends. And so when you have grown people and you're supposed to respect me and I'm supposed to respect you, and you do things juvenile, like, not have it's just like sending a thank you card. So you're just not going to say, by the way, we had fun. I really like you. And that's why I chose the theme. It's not personal. The timing is just bad, because I don't think she meant really to, as it resulted in the impact that she gave. I don't think she intentionally meant it that way. She just set the standard for herself and she didn't consider him. And I just thought that was whack. She's right. I mean, you should know, yourself, what you can handle. It could remind, the whole situation with him, and his brother situation, all that, getting you off track. But at the same time, you treat people how you want to.
Remember, she did respond to him. It just wasn't the way he wanted her to respond.
Well, that's true. You did.
Right.
Yeah,
it was like, wasn't it like one word responses?
Right.
Yeah.
So she didn't ignore him. But like he said, she hasn't contacted me. But if you consider a couple of one-word texts and everything, then I guess she has. It just
Marlee, you know she's shady.
Trey, in response to what you said.
Shady, okay.
Go
ahead, Kendra.
In response to what you said, you was like, it's nothing personal. It's just the timing is not right. Women can really use that line a lot, but ask yourself, when is timing perfect? Is it perfect time for somebody to die? Is it the perfect time to have a baby? Is it the perfect time of the year to have a wedding in a pandemic? Is it the perfect time to have your first 1-year-old birthday? It's never a perfect time. Or if it is, it's in your head and in your mind. And like Lauren, in the words of Lauryn Hill, what you want will make you cry.
Yeah,
what you need might pass you by.
Yep.
If you don't catch it. I'm sorry, I'm just a Southern girl at heart. I just, I'm a love. I want you. Here I am. You want to pursue me. When I met my husband, I mean, he was sending word through a friend. I was just coming out of a relationship. I wasn't trying to be in another relationship. And here we are 20 years later. Because somebody said those same words to me. Okay, gonna let that pass you by. So.
Yeah. It looks like our people's watching us live. Yeah, they're having a good good time with this. Stephanie Gordon Thurman says nothing wrong with coming home to some slick. Yes, Lord. I'm with you, Stephanie. She should have worked that out. So yeah. And, okay, making sure I had got everybody. We got a lot of interaction up there. So chapter 1 through chapter 9, y'all. Let's see what's going to come up next. I wanted to ask you guys, anyone has, and this is not for you cheaters, anyone have any predictions of what's going to happen next? Who do you think is going to be the wild character?
I don't know. This took such a fast pace out the gate. I don't know. I'm scared.
I know it could go anywhere.
I have.
Right. And I'm trying to think. Going into the last book, we read the person in the middle. I mean, who's gonna get killed? I have no idea.
Well, Marlee always got something up her sleeve, so this could be the girl. Ain't no telling what could happen. The mailman could be a prominent character next. I don't know.
No, somebody in the back room at the salon, one of the barbers.
The masseuse
girl.
Massage therapist. I'm sorry, massage therapist.
Massage therapist, yes. And I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I didn't know that either.
And I don't want to predict. I want to be surprised.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marlee.
Me too.
Okay, so y'all can. Okay, well, I'm a betting woman, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw mine out there. I think there's going to be some conflict between the family that needs versus the family that has.
Sounds good.
And
that's a book right there.
Yeah, I think, I just get a feeling that something is going to happen. In that regard. I think that, I think it was the reason why Marlee put in the book about the older brother, not being appreciative when Slick picked him up from prison. Like his first comment was like, what took you so long?
And he suffers from PTSD too, right?
He suffers from PTSD. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
he's on disability, so you might not want to. He handles him very well, but remember, he's subject to say anything. Remember, his nickname is Bliss.
Bliss, yeah.
So he goes from one extreme to the other. There's no middle ground.
I think Bliss is a wonderful character. I love everything about him. I really hope he don't die or wind up in prison or something.
Or get a new suit.
He's gonna get his new suit.
But what, that suit threw me off. I was like, oh, poor baby, you got that suit.
suit.
I know,
Girls want
Marlee.
me.
You're not gonna let the po-po shoot him, are you? Because we know that can come up real quick with his type.
Oh, Lord.
All right, baby, we're gonna be
Everybody got a
surprised.
crazy uncle. Everybody got a crazy
I will say,
relative.
out of all the characters, Bliss is my favorite. So I'll just tell you that. Bliss is my favorite character as well. So
That Bliss is gonna end up with the lady on the porch.
Oh my God, Wanda, you a mess.
Y'all are gonna be there to counsel them, so they're gonna be fine.
He better stop going back to that girl house. I know that much.
I know. You're gonna roll up with the lady that's got the warrant against him and everything. Oh, that ain't cool. But you got him covered, right, Marlee?
She probably threw out some signals and didn't realize, you know, she's not from that side of town. Now you want to put restraints all on him.
No, he got a new suit. You know, he's got his brother to buy him a new suit.
Girl, I am
So
dying.
he dressed different, and that makes all the difference in life, you know.
Man, a good lineup and a good suit change the game. You can go from a 3 to a 10 real quick. Real quick. The lineup and a fresh suit.
Fresh haircut.
Yes, ma'am. They cut. Go weigh in on it, Jay.
You could also get your feelings hurt sending out your representative too.
You're right, representative.
Hey, look, and he can also have a fresh suit and a lineup and be broke as hell.
Like, exactly.
All right, Alex, we want to hear from you too. Alex, roll up.
He got potential.
Alex said, I'm out of this. I felt sorry for Bliss with that, because when he started talking about his suit, and then he just broke my heart. But I did want to see that suit. Marlee Rae, you might have to add in an image of that suit in the book or something. I got to see this suit.
It was a funeral suit. He had a funeral suit that he wore up there on Capitol Hill. You all live in the DMV. You know what that is.
Exactly. You know exactly what he looks like. And remember how
he's there all the time. I know what that's like.
Yep. Right. He's 6'5". He's extremely built, and he's in a suit, and he walks into after work happy hour, and he's nice looking. And
you know, blue suit with brown color shoes and a tie with.
You know what, y'all?
You're wrong.
And that's what thirsty chicks are looking for. And they come to that location for a reason.
You know what, Miss Pat? Miss Pat, I was talking to a young lady, an older young lady, and she's not from this country. She's actually from Sierra Leone, and she put a different spin on from people from her culture than Americans. She was like, you know, sometimes you meet a man and, you know, American women put so much pressure and expectations on men that, you know, men don't feel the need to be honest. And she was like, you know, with the economy, or depending on if you're retiring, transitions in life, you may not have a job. You may be struggling financially. And she was like, and that's okay. Be honest with me. And hey, you know, I'm kind of financially set and, you know, on an even key. So for me, it wouldn't be all about the money, but I need a helpmate, you know. And I was just like, wow, that's a different perspective, because we're all ignorant to our own background and our own culture. We only know what we know, and we believe what we know is the standard, it's the truth, it's the gospel. But it's not. But you know,
and his girlfriend is looking at men that can have multiple wives. So she's not the only one.
Yeah.
And if she thinks she is,
she married an American guy here. She actually married.
I thought she married somebody that was African. Okay.
Oh no, from Sierra Leone. No.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
I
was like
another
another wife, not another man.
I wouldn't know about that.
Yeah.
I like doing the little casting predictions. So for next time, I think it's fun.
It is. No, I love it. Go. I love it.
The next time, I want you to think how you would cast Tweet and Slick and 3 other characters of your choice. So I just want to, give some little input to the author too, type of people you think should play her characters. We will be back same time, same day, different date. It'll be our next to discuss the remaining chapters of Slick. It'll be on November 15th. So please mark your calendars. We have to find out what is going to happen next. And Marlee Rae's note to keep in mind for the next discussion, we want to talk about the dynamic of the two families at the end of the book. All right. That's her ending note. And did you want to say anything in closing? Marlee Rae?
I don't think so. I think I'll have to wait till you all read the rest of the book. You know, for those of you who have not read it, I think you'll have to read the rest of the book to see how it goes. I think a lot of you all are going to be really surprised. So let me say that. Yeah, I would say surprised because, yeah, listening to everybody's comments.
Oh, look at her smiling, y'all. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I know, right?
No,
No, I'm just saying you all have really got heavy with it. So I was like, yeah, you're gonna be a little surprised. And just think about the things that I would say that I mentioned as far as when you're reading it, just think about the things that I mentioned in regards to that Malcolm, we got a 24-year time span of when this dynamic enters. So we got a lot of healing process between that. You got to figure out where he is now and how he handles things. So I think that'll put a little bit, just think about this is 24 years later. So I would say not to focus so much on what happened to him when he was 18 because he's 42 now.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Marlee, I would like for you to send your scripts to Will Packer. We got to work this out, girl, because you got a whole lot of stuff he needs to work with.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And then I'm going to say some of us can be the actors. I mean, we'll figure it out.
I got the soundtrack. I got the soundtrack.
What was going to say, Rhonda?
When I was reading, I was thinking the same thing. I see movie. I mean, and you can put
especially
it on
with her series.
whatever.
Lifetime don't have nothing on this that shows our version of older women in love. I'm telling you, Lifetime, red carpet, all of that.
Will Packer, send it to him.
Okay, I'm here
or to Tyler Perry. Those are the two, Tyler Perry and Will Packer.
I'm listening, Miss
Pat. We got it covered, baby. If you need some of us to work on it, we'll do it. Whatever you need.
We'll stand in the parking lot with a sign and say, "You don't see me. You don't see me."
Okay, we know how to roll with it. We'll do it.
The wind down part.
Yo.
I
It's
finished my whole
starting
bottle.
to happen. Well, just like every other time, guys, we have had a ball, and it's bittersweet that we have to go at this point. But I've had a ball. Marlee Rae, you've outdone yourself. I can't wait to see how you conclude this project with these characters. As you can tell from the comments, it seems like we've all invested in these characters in some sort of way. So I can't wait to see what happens next. For those of you who are watching, I highly encourage you to also read the Something About Love series, as well as Slick. You are missing out. This is book number, I was gonna say this is your senior book, but you have gotten 5 books under your belt, correct?
Next month.
The 5th book will be out this month, yes.
This month. Oh, that's right, we're in November. I cannot wait. I'm cheating.
Well, I will say you are definitely taking us by storm, and we can't wait to see what you do with Slick, and we can't wait to see what you do with Wet.
Soft.
So yeah. So guys, you guys have a good evening. Next time we meet, we'll have a new president. And I hope we keep the same. Look at Alex, fingers crossed. We're all still happy and, excited about talking about books.
That's all we got is books. That's all we got is our books. That's all we got is our authors.
For real.
So you guys remain healthy and safe, and I will see you in 2 weeks. All right.
Thank you, Marlee.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.